A Tesla Model S driver had died in Florida this week. His car slid off the road and crashed into a tree, bursted into flames, and unfortunately he died in a fire. However, it is not the fire itself that's in the middle of a controversy. It's some of the malfunctions that were reported from the scene that might be to blame for his death. We're going to talk all about it coming up next.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world, E4 Electric!
Welcome to E4 Electric, your number one source of unbiased electric car news. Of course, if this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything moving forward. And of course, brownie points if you get this reference. If you do, in the comment section, let me know. Who sings that song? No Googling. All right, so let's talk about this because this is obviously a tragic story that the driver of this car had died. This is a picture that I guess one of the bystanders of actually it's a still frame from the video. Essentially, as you can see, the car got caught on fire. There were reports that this person was going actually anywhere from 75 to 90 miles an hour in a 50 mile an hour zone. Obviously, the investigation will determine that. Now, what was being reported from the scene is that as people tried to come in and save the person once the car started catching on fire, they reported that they were not able to actually open the doors of the cars. You know, the door handles on the Model S, they kind of come out of the body. And by the design, after a few other issues, or after a few crashes, so Tesla designed it so if the airbags deploy, the door handle is, I think, the trunk open automatically. I guess that didn't happen, and I guess there was also a report that airbags did not deflate. So when people were trying to save this person, I don't know if they tried breaking the window, which was kind of the right thing to do. They just couldn't get that person in time. Now. We don't know what really happened. A lot of times the first reports from the witnesses are not always what really happened, and I know there will be an investigation, but this is definitely a problem if a door handles that are, I know they add to aerodynamics and they're definitely really cool. When I show off my car to people, I think this is one of the top 3 features that I think are like cool feature to show off in the car. But as you know, they've been having issues just as far as just working for your day-to-day usage of the car. I believe they're on a 3rd generation now for the door handles. Or 3rd, but they had quite a few. Now, if this is becoming an issue of safety when a car catches on fire and people are not able to escape, and of course there's an airbag issue, this is something that should definitely be looked into. Now, when Business Insider reached out to Tesla for comment, they pointed them to a page 24 of the manual. So I pulled it up. This is a page 24 of the manual, and obviously we should be looking at the opening doors portion. It says Model X has unique door handles. They obviously acknowledge that. And then it says when an airbag inflates, Model S unlocks all doors, the trunk, and extends all door handles, which looks like didn't happen, reportedly. And it says if the door handles do not function, open the door manually by reaching inside the window and using the interior door handles. And I think that is a reasonable thing to suggest, right? But what I guess happened is that the airbags did not deflate, so people could not reach in. And by the way, it's not really that easy to break those windows, especially if you have nothing to break it with. With your hand, you're definitely going to hurt your hand, and probably in many more ways than one. And so don't. I don't want to say don't do it, because if you're saving someone's life, obviously it's at your discretion, but you definitely can get hurt. So it's unfortunate. This is one of the we haven't talked about Tesla fires in a while, so let's break this down into positives and negatives, just like any story has. Before that, I want to remind you that this channel and this video is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. There's a discount code in the description of this video. Go ahead and grab it. That way you can save yourselves a few bucks. All right, so let's talk about the positive. All right, so it is definitely, as I mentioned, a tragic story. But there are some positives. First of all, it looks like we haven't talked about a Tesla fire in a while, even though there's so many. They almost doubled the fleet, I think, from the last time we had a big story like this. So that's a good thing. I mean, I think, you know, one of the advantages of electric cars, or any advantages of the electric cars that we can point out, we should. There are tons and tons and tons of gas cars that catch on fire all the time. They don't get reported, obviously, as much as Tesla stories. Most of the time, it's just on a local on a local TV station, but they do happen in really large numbers, and people do die and get hurt because of those. Obviously, we're dealing with gasoline. Number two, obviously, whenever something happens, something bad happens, usually something good comes out of it, and that's usually improvements, right? The fact that the firefighters, it looks like, didn't have issues putting out the fire, I think that's because a lot of fire departments around the country figured out that, hey, this is very different. We need to utilize different techniques and technologies to put out battery fires for electric cars. And it looks like this was also an improvement. Now, that battery actually did catch on fire 2 more times, as it was towed to a wreck yard or a body shop, and the fire department had to come out a couple times, and they said that they're just going to kind of sit there and wait for this battery to finally die down. That hasn't been figured out yet, but still, improvement. You know, as tragic as this accident is, if there is something to improve for the airbags or door handles or both, obviously this would be a way to save lives in the future, and I hope Tesla, looks into it. I don't know what agencies are going to be involved in this accident. I'm assuming a few, and that way, obviously, this car and the technology is going to be improved. So, just like I said, out of any tragedy, a lot of times we make things better for the future. So that's definitely the positives. All right, let's talk about the negatives. And obviously a person died. That's never good. It's yet to be figured out whether or not it was his fault or something else caused the accident. Now, to me, the negative is still the fact is that, electric cars don't have gas, and if they don't have gas, people can easily say, well, why do they catch on fire? And it would actually be a pretty good argument. I think the technology needs to improve, and that kind of goes into my kind of positive rant, but at the same time, we need to figure out how to make sure that these batteries don't explode like it's a gas car. Whether it's a solid state batteries, where it's a better protection for the batteries, like Audi I believe had done with their Audi e-tron. We'll yet to see if it's actually going to work. And but it's still coming back to this whole door handles. To me, Tesla had reinvented some things that didn't really need to be reinvented, especially in this case. Again, it does add to aerodynamics, having those handles go in, but they just seem to don't know how to design them, right? With the Model 3s, are a different type of handles, but look, they already had issues with them being frozen solid, where people can get into their cars in the morning when it's really cold. By my experience, they're and I think many other people can attest to this. They're made out of a material that heats up pretty good, and so when I go out here in California sun and I grab a handle, completely forgetting that I'm going to burn the hell out of my hand, that happens every time. I really get like burns. I think they either need to make this technology almost 100%, where people can open their doors at all times, definitely after an accident, or go back to just good old school, door handles that everybody knows how to make. I think this is something that a lesson needs to be learned there, and I certainly hope that based on investigation for this accident, they will be able to figure that out. Let me know in the comment section. I'm curious to know if you guys think that and what improvements do you think Tesla should make based on at least what we know right now. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to one of my newer Patreons, York. Thank you so much. Not even going to try to pronounce your last name, but thank you so much for joining my Patreon community, the only place where you can watch me live, and thank you for supporting this independent YouTube channel. By the way, if you want to join, there's a link in the description of this video, and that way you can join my Patreon community. And thank you so much for doing it. And ahead of time, I hope to see you in my live stream. That's pretty much it, guys. Let me know in the comment section about everything that I've kind of asked, because I really am interested in knowing what the feedback is in the community. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.